Here are some key facts about monkeypox. It is transmitted through contact with infected animals like rodents and other primates, or from other humans. Direct contact with bodily fluids, which includes blood, saliva, or pus, can also be transmitted through indirect contact with contaminated surfaces or objects, as well as respiratory droplets through coughing or sneezing. The symptoms typically include fever, a headache, muscle aches, swollen lymph nodes, rash, which may start as flat spots and may become pus-filled blisters. There may be associated chills and fatigue as well. The incubation period refers to the period between when the causative organism enters into the body and when symptoms begin to manifest, and it's typically between 10 and 14 days. The treatment is usually supportive care, like most viruses do, and the supportive care involves taking adequate fluids, getting sufficient rest, and pain management. Antiviral medications may be useful in certain conditions, and it is typically prevented through vaccination for high-risk individuals. The smallpox vaccine provides some form of protection against monkeypox, but specific monkeypox vaccines are being developed. It is typically prevented by avoiding contact with infected animals or humans, wearing personal protective equipment, practicing good hygiene, including hand washing and disinfection, avoiding touching eyes, nose, or mouth. It is important that the public is aware of this outbreak, and it is essential to stay informed about local outbreaks and following public health guidelines to minimize the risk of transmission. Thank you.
90.3. The One Radio. You tune in on your way home. This is the One.
BOP 90.3 FM.
Ça passe.
All right, very good morning to you. We're here again, second half, and it's time for us to run through the messages as I promised. Adeaga is here with us. We'll be talking about financial issues too. We'll continue. Let's say those questions you asked when we're talking about shares and all that, you can still go ahead and ask some of those we didn't ask. We'll talk about the subsidy. We'll talk about the new plane. We'll talk about everything. But right now, let's go through the messages as I promised. The ones I didn't take before now, we're going to be taking them right now. My name is Cordelia Obe. You, thanks for being there. Okay. All right. You say, what is the significance of crude oil to the Nigerian populace, and how does it impact their daily lives? What are the primary responsibilities of the government towards its citizens, and how can it effectively utilize resources to improve their welfare? How does Nigeria's management and utilization of oil revenue differ from other oil-producing countries that have successfully leveraged their resources to drive economic growth and development? Many questions John Wakan from Yanokmaja has asked. Many questions looking for answers. Same questions I think I have been asking too. Good morning, VOP. This talk about nation and his leadership under President Tinubu watch is becoming unbecoming. He's the chief security, petroleum minister, to presidential jet buyer, and everything at it was staged. Shame to leaders without vision. God help the masses or the nation. CY Honesty from Isolo. And you are next, Paul from Oli. Eve Paul. Good morning. The president department for France. No, I'm sure you wanted to say departure. Good morning. The president's departure for France. Please, when is the president coming back? We were told after a work stay. Please, what is a work stay? These people take us for a ride. Paul from Oli. They will answer. Daniel from Ikotun High. To me, our leaders are taking us for granted. That's why. That's okay. If it's not, how can our president just wake up and buy aircraft just like that? Sister Cordelia, that senator that was claimed that 29,000 is 29 million is too small. He needs to be arrested. God bless you. That 29 million is too small. It's million, he said, or not thousand. He was just giving you example now. Not that that is what he receives. Good morning to you, Lady C. Trust your night was great. Please, your reply to Columbus this morning said, they are hearing us. Yarn anyhow and see where we will land. Sounds funny, but my question then is, why are we still like this? If they are hearing us, please let our guy at the top do something promptly before the said October 1, 2024. Things shouldn't completely fall apart before amendments. Prevention is better than cure. That is true. Why are we still like this? You know, sometimes people can hear and refuse to do what they need to do until they are made to do what they need to do. It's okay. It's like your child. You keep saying, get up, get up, get up, until you see you stand up, say, stand up. Sometimes before the child will know to get up. So sometimes it depends on what the people decide to do. Good morning. Our leaders don't love this country. They should know there is God. Ngozi from Lagos, that's you. Why didn't you read my messages? Lady C, these leaders are killing Nigerians. People are hungry and dying every day. Please, you people should please help us talk to them. You're talking to them already. And I've read both your messages. Remember, I promised that if I don't finish taking your messages, you know, we'll also have the messages on YouTube. The ones on YouTube, I kind of read first because once that broadcast terminates, I don't get to see those messages again till much later. But the ones on WhatsApp, I can still see till now. That's why from 10:30, if I don't finish reading the ones on WhatsApp, I'll read them at this point. I don't miss anybody's own. So I've taken yours, NG. Latif Babatunde from Ifo, Ogun State. Good morning to you. How are you? You said, I'm surprised that a government headed by Hu Tinubu can be extravagant in spending our commonwealth like this, despite the cry of hunger and poverty. I'm highly disappointed in Tinubu's government. It really means to wicked Nigerians. They will not tell us actual amount of the plane. Let's get the make and model, and Google search will get the actual amount. They will tell us lies even when they want to tell us price of the jet. When you're done Googling and all that, can you share what you discover with me? I like that. Good morning, Lady C. My name is Chukuma from Ilasa Maja. Look, I believe that Nigeria as a country will work for us all one day because the good work UVOP radio is doing there. If we talk like this continually, one day we will get a leader that will hear us and do the right thing. In Jesus' name you say, and I respond, Amen. Good morning to you, Didai from Yanokbaja. Nigerian customs exploits Nigerians through the air and seaports to declare huge revenue. NNPC exploits Nigerians to declare huge revenue. What a country with clueless leaders. Ajero dissociated himself and labor from hunger strike. Now under probe, he deserves what is befalling him. When it comes to Jagaban, what do Nigerians expect? Didai from Iyanokbaja. Good morning to you. Jude from Ajawa Estate. It's obvious the government doesn't care if we criticize them or not. That which they want to do is what they will do. NLC was compromised right from the get-go of their negotiation with the presidency on minimum wage and fuel hike. The storm that will hit these evil politicians in this country is very close. That's what you believe. Ifedayo from Egbeda, good morning. This might not be part of your headline for today. No problem. We're at the point where I can read anything now. The masses are suffering. Only the few elites are enjoying the so-called democracy. Let's ask this question. How many of the elites that can boast of their wealth that are acquired is legal? Because many of them loot the country's treasury in order to get to the political office they're holding now. That is the president, governors, senators, reps, and so on, until there is accountability of anyone who's seeking public office. This may just continue. A fair dyer from Egbeda, that was from you. Tunji Oshusoya from Okota. In developed countries, the government is afraid of people. In underdeveloped countries, the people are afraid of the government. Until we use every means to make the government do what we want, Nigeria will not develop. Tunji Daos from you. TC from Ojo. TC, my dearest, could you help me abridge your messages? They are rather long. This government do not care for the people. They keep wasting and lavishing the scarce resources they claim Nigeria do not have by embarking on Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road, buying of yachts, presidential jet, buying latest Cadillac, renovation of VP's lodge, sponsoring Hajj trips, wasting 12 billion naira for Olympics and many other wasteful spendings while the economy is bleeding and Nigerians are suffering. The government is fighting down opposition and dissent voices of reason. They don't want to hear people condemn them. Rather, they use security agencies and non-state actors to intimidate and harass those speaking against the government. Today, they heap trumped-up terrorism charges against NLC chairman and organizers of protests just to silence them. I blame Labour Union for not joining the protest. That's why their president is being treated this way. There is no single sign of democracy in this country. The government of the past military regimes in Nigeria is far better than what we have in Nigeria now. Who will bail Nigeria from this mess? They live in affluence, but tell Nigerians to endure. Tighten their belts that it will soon be better. They do not live by example. They are there for their personal gains to enrich themselves. TC from Ojo, that was your message. Good morning to you, sir. I grew up listening to your sweet voice on radio in those days that Radio Nigeria stations were holding this way. Oh, you did. I'm not old like that. I beg. I want to commend Remy from Tottenham. That young man is so passionate about the well-being of this nation. The way he airs his opinions and views on various issues and on different media platforms are top-notch. He is so patriotic. I must once again commend him. Reverend Kashmir from Itire Surulere. Remy, that was a special shout out to you for being so patriotic. Chima from Surulere, how are you? It surprises me when a few people blame Nigerians for making bad choices in elections. We should recall the statement of late Yaradua that the election that brought him to power was flawed. This is just one case. As the presidential election results were collated, LP and PDP complained furiously and even walked away in protest. Mahmood said that they would be reviewed with them, which he never did. 2023 general elections produced unprecedented litigations. Chima from Surulere, you sent that in. All right, getting set to finish this one. Good morning to you. This is Mayor from Festac Town. On the new presidential jet acquired by Tinubu without NASA appropriation, it is an impeachable offense. Tinubu needs to be impeached or let Nigeria be divided, or if Nigeria should continue, let there be change of leadership style constitutionally. On fuel crisis and subsidy, let NNPCL be dissolved and KRE sacked. Tinubu has nothing to offer, even if given 20 years. Mayor from Festac, that is what you believe. Okay. Good morning. This should be the first message now. Welcome to the second half. Thank you very much, YJ from Shasha. National Assembly is helping the citizens take a decision on their relevance or otherwise. If they cannot do the oversight functions and appropriation duties, then they have become of no use to our citizens. No appropriation, but Tinubu awarded Lagos-Calabar Coastal Roads. No appropriation, he bought presidential jet. No appropriation, and 90 billion was given to Muslim pilgrims. What about the SUV brand new purchase? The brand new SUVs purchased? The list is endless. YJ from Shasha. Kenny Adeaga, you've been sitting quietly and hearing everything I've been saying. This issue of appropriation, that the NAS saying that, okay, Kenny Adeaga is here with us. He's not just a financial analyst, he's also, he runs commentaries on societal issues too. You know, we've been talking about the jet, cars, fuel, so many things causing a headache. And you know, the National Assembly said that, come on, we didn't give any appropriation. We didn't see this. We didn't approve any whatever that came forward for this jet. So well, where did it fall from?
Well, I think the president, to some extent, cannot blame the president alone. People must be blamed for that.
Who?
We have the National Assembly. we have the finance ministry. All that is a chain.
Okay, you see, the National Assembly said we didn't see anything. Remember the other time when there was a huge brouhaha about the private jet? I mean, the purchasing a brand new jet.
Yeah.
Akpabio had said that we've not seen anything here. Nothing has been brought here. If it is brought here, the House will look at it, we will discuss it, and give approval if need be.
Yes.
Yeah? So there was no discussion, there was no submission. Does that not mean that, as I have said, or I had said earlier, that it was never taken there? Because if it was taken there during their plenaries, you'd have heard them talking about it.
That's exactly what I'm saying now. Like I said.
No, so why should you blame them if they didn't see anything?
Because they have an oversight function, even over the spending of the president. They have that duty. So if any money is being spent out of the budget, they have that oversight function to come in with. If they are not doing that, it then means that they are really not doing what they are legally supposed to be doing for us as representatives. So if president decide not to bring anything to them for discussion, they know. Agreed now, let us just say it's a rumor, so to say, that the president had bought this, had bought that, and bought that. It has been rumored. They can call the president to come and tell them how he came about all this. That is allowed with them. So if they are not doing that, if they are just, to me, I think they are just playing to the gallery. They are just trying to wipe sentiment against all this, to say, oh, we are doing what we are supposed to do. They are not even supposed to let the public know that, oh, we are talking about this or not. Ordinarily, what we should know as public is we have invited the president to come and defend what he has done. And this is our position. As he proved that, yes, I have the backing of the House, or I have the constitutional right to do that. If that had been done, then we don't have any issue. But if they have not done that and they are just supporting the all the rumor mongers and all what have you in the media, then who do we blame? So that is my take on that. And our lawyers are there. The lawyers are there to interpret the law for us. So if we are not seeing any lawyer coming up to interpret what is in the Constitution, like I said, I'm not a lawyer, but I have heard in past times when presidents have said there's a limit at which he can spend without appropriation. So if that is enshrined in the Constitution, then it means our Constitution has given the president the power. So he has done it. The next question would have been, did he spend according to the limit that he's supposed to spend? If he has spent above the limit, then he can be chastised. But if he hasn't spent above the limit, I don't think there's any issue in that regard. So let's stop all the hearsays, all the rumors,
How can you stop all the hearsays, all the rumors and so on when nobody is speaking? I keep saying that if you do not come out to say something, I see you now, for instance, you have a white pen head taken from your pocket.
Yeah.
If I just look at it there, I continue and say after the white there is gold following it.
Yeah.
I can tell Tolu that a white pen na gold they do on down.
Yeah.
He will tell Shegun, we'll continue to say it.
Fine.
Until you say, this my white pen is white from beginning to end. Speculations, allegations will not.
Media, it's all over.
Is it supposed to be from the social media?
It's not supposed to be.
Who did they quote from the social media you heard it from?
They don't, in fact, some that have read, they didn't quote anybody.
You see?
So
is that how it's supposed to be for a country? Let me give you source now. So next time you give a source.
Okay.
This was what you noticed. I was looking at something.
Yes.
I wanted to get this firsthand, so I'll read it directly from the person
Okay.
firsthand. So we all have a source. Nobody will say we were misquoted or anything. So I'm going to read it directly.
Okay.
I'm going to read the tweet that was put out by Bayo Ononuga. Since it's addressed to Nigerians now, let me read it from Twitter. All right.
All right.
And it says, President Tinubu departs for France.
Yes.
President Tinubu departed Abuja Monday for Paris, France, using the new Airbus A330, which replaced the 19-year-old Boeing B737, so 700 BBJ. I go back. The new Airbus A330, which replaced
Yeah.
the 19-year-old Boeing B737-700 BBJ, but under the presidency of President Olusegun Obasanjo. The new plane, emphasis my,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
not bad, but, past tense of buy.
Buy.
Far below the market price saves Nigeria huge maintenance and fuel costs, running into millions of dollars yearly. Justification. You don't talk, you don't justify, no problem.
Yeah.
The recommendation to replace the B737-700 BBJ followed an investigative hearing by Nigeria's parliament that questioned
Meaning that they have had a discussion before the purchase.
first. I watched that session. You know, my new job is to be watching them in the house.
All right.
I watch them.
That's good.
Yeah, that's my new job.
It's
I
good.
Hear, okay, you soon hear the new one. I hear and I bring out.
All right.
I heard when they had that session, a security committee, after the vice president was going to travel to the US, when the president wasn't around, vice president was going to go to the US, Nigerians screamed. And then I said, oh, you know, maybe you're using an excuse to come back after we complained that you were traveling. Remember, that was where the whole story started from.
Yeah.
And then the House now had that committee, whatever, and they now presented that they needed new planes for the president and the VP and so on. And Nigerians started saying, no. We don't think this is the time. We don't have money. We shouldn't be buying this now. And everything became, quite rowdy. And we didn't hear any other thing. They now said that Akpabio said, I will buy the plane whether you like it or not. He came out and said, no, I didn't say anything like that. But come on, if there is a request, of course we will approve it, and so on and so on and so on. That was the last thing we heard. Now the president going to France. All of a sudden,
With a new plane.
we just saw a new plane.
Yes.
By whom?
It's possible.
And you get to see the new plane via a media support Twitter handle.
Great. You see, like I said, our representatives ought to, by now.
Someone?
Exactly.
In France.
No, you are. You see, the thing is this: there was a process that was followed. In the middle of this process, what we would have expected our representative to have done, in as much as we have had both sides and investigated it, when the item is being purchased, there is no way they would say that they didn't have a sightseeing of that item, which is the plane. They cannot say they didn't see it.
Did they also see the Cadillac, or what's the name of that huge beastly looking new ride that they're using?
They can never say they didn't see it, because it's not an item that is not visible. Are you getting what I'm saying? So, and all these things are happening in Abuja. Give or take, they would have flew by air, and they would have been in the airport. They would have seen all that. If they are riding also, they must have gone to Aso Rock. They cannot say they didn't go to Aso Rock, where maybe the Cadillac is parked, to the extent that they can say they didn't see it or they haven't seen such a thing. So let them not fool us. Let them come up with something that is credible enough for Nigerians to say, okay, we agree that our people, our National Assembly are working. What is the essence of an oversight functioning? The essence is for you to go and see physically. It is not something that you just sit down in the comfort of your office or your house.
Who? Oversight of who? People who already said, oh, we need to buy?
That's the essence. See, give or take, if you do an oversight function, you have a recommendation. It is your recommendation Nigerians are waiting for. If you recommend that this thing is done, then we know who to blame on such issue. It's like you have, okay, let me deviate to the capital market. We have the regulator, we have the sub-regulators. It's like the SEC, who is the regulator, now say, under this recapitalization thing, let's assume banks have concluded all their recapitalization, and then a bank came up to say we were able to raise 100 billion in within 2 or 3 months, and they cannot justify how they raised that money. And SEC came up to say yes, they have raised that money, they are good to go. And then we are asking how were they able to raise it? Is it through terrorist fund or symphony or whatever? And then they cannot explain it. Who do we blame? Who blames SEC? Of course. Because they are the regulator who are supposed to check the books of these people and to know that these things are raised through legal means.
You know, I wanted to convert that amount to naira.
Yeah.
And just like Akpabio, the outcome, this money is too much for me to be able to call the money.
When it was trying to call trillions and what have you. Yeah.
It's simply too much for me. And, you know, if you go under this particular message
Yes.
I just read,
Yes.
or post by Nonuga,
Yeah.
if you go under it, the kind of things Nigerians have, you know, written and put there,
Yeah.
should show a well-meaning person that we may not have taken the right step, because these people are not at all happy with us spending so much money. Of what use is it, actually? Now, the next question would be, they said the Chinese firm seized 3, right? The previous ones were bad.
Yeah.
Not good. So Chinese firm, be they seize plane when you done bad? Or what they want to do with
let's
bad
not
plane?
even go into that. There is a controversial issue.
That
The ones that were claimed to be seized is very controversial.
Help me. I like controversy. Tell me.
Because it has the involvement of Ogun State government.
No, I
And
know,
that is,
I know, I know.
So nobody can say right now, as it were, that the plane were seized because of that.
No, I'm not. I don't care. I'm not talking
So-
about the reason why they were seized or not. I'm just talking about the planes that were seized.
Yeah.
What planes were those? Were they part of these planes that they said were bad? If they are, how come they are seizing bad planes plus one new one?
But you see, that's why I said it's controversial. For me, I'm not an aviation expert. I'm not an aviation operator. So I can't say that I've been to the airport to see, right? And I have not traveled to China to see that these are the plane
France.
that were, France. These are the plane that were seized. So I will not talk on that. I will need, or we will need those in that segment of the economy and those who had physically gone there to see, to say. I remember there was a time the issue went during the Obasanjo's period when some planes were bought only for those planes to be refurbished, not bought. And a journalist who was so concerned and who had information that they were refurbished, not bought as new, went all out to get those information. When he came back, I understand that the administration then tried to bribe him not to talk about it. And what he did was, I have every document from the organization that they said this plane were bought. I have all the documents to show that it was not bought, it was refurbished. So how they ended it, nobody knows. Even the journalist that I am talking about now, I don't even know his whereabouts. So anything could have happened. So in some cases, we need to be very careful so that we will not do what is not right legally. There are some things I will not talk about because of the implication.
Like?
If I'm charged to court in that regard that I cannot prove, I stay off. So there are some issues like this plane issue now. It's something that anybody who does not have full information about it should just not talk about it.
Like
rather,
okay, you
get
that's-
people experts in that field to come and talk. The fuel thing we are talking about, I've had commentaries from operators in the market. That's the major marketers. They have talked. NNPC has spoken. Independent marketers too have spoken. In all their speeches, you could see where there are problems. Independent marketers are saying, yes, we know NNPC has total control, but in that regard, give us some areas where we can get this fuel from. Yes, you'll be the one to supply them there, but from this tank, let it be us, so that there will be a free flow. Whether it is possible or not, we don't know now. It's still a discussion with NNPC. So until the independent marketers are able to come out to say, yes, we at our discussion with NNPC, we are able to get this out. And that is why there will be availability of fuel all over the places. But as it were now, what they said or what they claim is making us to have scarcity is because they couldn't discharge into tanks from the ship. They talk about situation on the IC. So all that need an expert opinion. For somebody like me, I only take it in the say normal way to say, oh, they may be right, but I may not get it right with them because that is their own area. So if they have said these are the reasons why we cannot supply enough fuel, for instance, if you bring 10 ships into the country and it had bats down, now it has to be discharged into a tank.
So what has weather got to do with it? Is this the first time we're having weather like this?
Weather has a lot to do with it.
Because you see, I'm going to.
I get it.
This is not the first time we're having weather like this. It hasn't been raining that much even.
I get it. But the weather they are talking about may not even be the rain they are talking about. They are talking about, what they are talking about is when they are discharging, if the weather is not conducive, it can spark. That's why I said I'm not an expert in that area. So they need to explain it better in the simplest way.
See, the explanation, right? The explanation that will make sense to me right now is to tell me how this weather is different from the weather that we had six months or so before now that this fuel issue started. What's the difference between this weather and that weather? It hasn't even been raining.
They have to explain that.
It hasn't been very sunny.
Yeah, and they have to explain that, not you and I.
See, Kenny, we no need to wait for them to explain anything. Yeah. See, some of these things, okay, they're saying, all right, that it is, what did NNPC say again, that it is lifting that's part of the problem. The independent marketers said, it's what they gave to us that we got.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And they said also that the end bad governance protest caused a law. So there is a slowdown in everything. Yeah. Where did weather come from again? Not only Nigeria get weather. There are places where even the snow everywhere is frozen.
Well, you that's why I said we need an expert view on this.
Where will we get this expert view before we die finish?
No. Let's not be in a hurry in that regard.
Did you see
the reasons they gave?
Did you see the queue?
I understand. We have human error also.
I mean, you said
the human error that I'm talking about now are things that I have seen. For instance, a station, maybe mobile. No, I'm sorry.
Cordelia.
Sorry.
Station Cordelia.
A station has supply for 3 different stations, 3 different outlets. Instead of taking the product to those 3 different outlets, he decided to take it to just one outlet because that outlet sells fast, right? And he takes it there. Now, that's the human error that I'm talking about now. The distributor, that's the NNPC that gave it out, had said take it to all these 3 outlets that you have. And you now decide as the owner, take it to one outlet. Do you know that the other 2 outlets, people in those areas will suffer for it? Because there was no distribution there was no allocation there. Whereas there is an original allocation to that place, but it's taken to another place.
Okay, hold on.
That is why DPR and the rest of them are working to ensure, and they have threatened that in the event that they see any filling station hoarding or taking allocation to another place, such station will be closed down or their license withdrawn or seized.
Okay, give me a second.
Yeah.
This weather thing, thank you for letting me know. This weather thing we are talking about now.
Yeah.
This was 1 month ago they said this.
Okay.
1 month ago. And I'm still asking the question, are we the only ones who have weather issues? If we be the only ones in the tropics, if we're not the only ones, how come all the other countries in the tropics, especially, have not had this type of issue we're having? Now, I'll read something I found here. That fuel scarcity, NNPC blames thunderstorms, others disrupting movement of products in FCT.
Okay.
This was 1 month ago. And they said that the Chief Corporate Communications Officer of NNPCL, Olufemi Shoneye, made the disclosure in a statement where it is said that disruption of ship-to-ship transfer of premium motor spirits, PMS, between mother vessels and daughter vessels in the country's capital FCT is a problem. According to him, the weather affecting berthing at jetties, truck load outs, and the transportation of products to filling stations, and interruptions in supply logistics at the station. And I'll quote him now, the NNPC Limited wishes to say that the fuel queues seen in the FCT and some parts of the country were as a result of disruption of ship-to-ship, blah, 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 also known as blah, 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 blah. They just repeating the same thing. The adverse weather condition has also affected berthing at jetties, truckloads, just repeating the same thing the paper had paraphrased there, and that the scarcity was also exacerbated by the flooding of truck routes, which constrained movement of PMS from the coastal corridors to the city.
Yeah.
Right? Is Lagos included there?
They said, and other parts of the country.
Now, this last line, now this one, for instance, in addition, the spokesperson noted that the scarcity was also exacerbated by the flooding of truck routes, which constrained movement of PMS from the coastal corridors to the city, to the other parts. We don't have such coastal corridors yet that we have flooding that the trucks can come out.
He has just said some parts of the country.
I'm talking of Lagos now.
Yes, Lagos may not be part of it.
This 1 month ago.
Yes. Let us say, based on what he has said, that Lagos may not be part of it. But we know that in the last 1 month, Lagos has been, we've had supplies. At least I buy fuel, and I know we've been having, we have been buying in different stations that I could see without queue. But what could have warranted this queue, to me, is as a greed and, basically greed.
Greed on whose part now?
On the part of the marketers.
But the marketers are saying that we're selling what we are getting.
Nobody's disputing that. But when you get, for instance, you get 1 million liter, and you decide to sell 800 liters to keep 200 liter, believing that, tomorrow a policy can change and can affect. Look, all these things, they know what they do. Let us forget about this thing. All the marketers know what they do. Okay,
let's come back to this particular weather thing.
Yeah.
Still the same statement that they made that already loading has commenced in areas where these challenges have subsided 1 month ago. So weather can still be the issue.
Well, you see, I know where you're coming from.
I don't know where I'm coming from. Please help
and
me.
So I don't want to.
No, seriously, where am I coming from? Where do you think?
You know what I'm trying to say is from the masses end. So no, that's where you are coming from.
No.
That is trying to no. You know why I'm saying that is this. You are trying to make it as simpler as possible. That as a novice, not seeing yourself as somebody who knows. You are putting yourself in the shoes of somebody who does not know at all, so that you can be enlightened or educated on how the process.
Okay.
That is the way.
I hands up right now.
That's the way you are looking at it.
That's not where I'm coming from. I'm coming from a place of logic. That 1 month ago, you said that thunderstorms, and funny enough, the thunderstorm we've seen this year hasn't been that massive. And this will not be the first time we're having thunderstorms in Nigeria. Yeah. And we didn't have this as an issue. For many years while Buhari was there, we had worse thunderstorms. We didn't have this as an issue. So why is this suddenly an issue? Now, 1 month ago, they said it has subsided. They've started, sending out products and all that. And we're still in the middle of this. So should that weather still be mentioned? And then we're not even in the worst situation when it comes to weather. We're not having typhoons. We're not having all those major things.
Let me take you back to during Buhari era, and not Buhari alone, every successive government, look at it, some months, in some months of the year, we have always had scarcity of fuel.
Usually December.
Fine. So
thunderstorms say that period.
No, that's the reason why I'm bringing those in. They didn't talk about thunderstorm then. Maybe because I'm not speaking for them.
Of course I know. If you are speaking for them,
it is possible. You see, it is possible that how do I put it now? That issue was not there. That's why they didn't bring those issues up at that time.
So where did now have weather change, climate change?
Anything could have happened or affected certain things. Like okay, let me go to where I specialize in the market space. That's the capital market now.
That's what we are supposed to be talking about.
Yes.
But we have a fuel shortage, so go slow.
All right. Okay, I'm just giving instance of that now.
Yes.
In the market, you hear mostly what you hear in the market is up and down. The reason why the price is up and the reason why the price is down, a whole lot is attributed to it, but only very few will know what exactly is the reason why the market was down or why the market was up. So when an issue comes up like that, for instance, a new policy can affect the market in a manner that if it had happened some years back, it may not have affected the market as badly as it's affecting it currently, or whatever, in terms of pricing. So these are the reasons we've been hearing. But now there's a new dimension to it, which has to do with what we as ordinary Nigerians who are not operating in that field can say. Unless the marketers agree to what NNPC have said, that is when we'll now say, oh, they are right. But if they don't agree, they can now give us their own reason to say what NNPC say about this is not physical, it's not possible.
Okay, let's look at the issue of distribution now. They're saying that the problem now is distribution.
Yeah.
Distribution. Is it weather again?
Well, even the distribution, like I just mentioned, they can give you this is something I've witnessed. They can give a station, a marketing company, five different outlets. The person decides to say, oh, because 2 or 3 outlets of mine sell fast, I'm taking it there. Mark you, they are supposed to monitor them. That's the regulator. Are supposed to monitor them to the final place. In the past, they were doing it. But because the marketers are equally fast, Nigerians, we are used to taking advantage of every loopholes. So when you give them 5 and for the 5 different outlets and he decides to take it to 1 or 2 of the outlets, the important thing is, oh, he has sold and he's coming back to buy more. I mean, if you are the seller, you gave somebody something to sell and he was supposed to sell it within a period of 2 weeks and he came back to you within that short period of 1 week and said, I've finished selling I want more. Won't you sell? You will sell to that person. So that is what they have been doing. There are so many of them. I can authoritatively tell you that why we have this scarcity was simply because even at the station they were selling to Jerrycan and Jerrycan are taking it to Badagry end, where it's being sold to about 1,500 or 2,000 per liter.
But this is now beginning to affect the businesses of people. If you go around town right now,
yes,
businesses are suffering because, okay, you won't sell fuel in jerrycans. How do people power their generators?
I'll give you that one too. Just yesterday, day before yesterday, some stations decide to say, okay, because of generator, we'll be selling 5 liter. Do you know that Nigerians went to buy 5 liter, pour it, came back to buy another 5 liter, since they have agreed that they will only sell 5 liter jerry can? And when the sellers, that's the petrol station, discovered that is what they were doing, they stopped completely and said they were not selling at all, except you bring your generator to the station. I see and I witness different vehicles that brought their generator inside their car and they were sold into. Even at that, some people still went, turned it, brought the same generator back again. So how do you control such thing? These are Nigerians.
Well, if you're just joining us, we're supposed to be looking at the recapitalization of banks and safety of depositors' funds. That was the issue. But what's burning right now on the table, or on the gas, on the wherever, is the fuel issue. And the fact that the queues have grown so long, this is when they now say they have snaked round the corners, so different places you never knew that a queue could get up to. If you go out, you saw the queue coming in here, right? It's quite shocking how the queues are growing. That's why this topic has slightly tilted towards this direction, because it's affecting people's businesses and people's lives and all of that. We're going to still tackle this topic in full. During the week or so.
I don't mind.
I'm talking about your recapitalization of banks and safety of depositors' funds. We're still going to look at that, but right now, this one is like choking everybody. So how do we solve that thing you just talked about?
We need to police ourselves. I'm telling you. The reason why I'm saying we need to police ourselves is this. If you go to a filling station and you see somebody doing what is illegal or what is not acceptable, don't allow such person to go scot-free with that.
The challenge is your fellow Nigerian that will tell you.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. That's where I'm going. That Nigerians are our problems ourselves. Because when you get to a filling station, you have queued up, and you just suddenly see somebody who is coming in from nowhere. And the person who is supposed to buy before that person will say, and maybe they have spoken, he will not say, leave, don't worry.
Just leave
It's not supposed to be. And you see everybody say, okay, let him be. Why? In such cases, we should not allow it. By the time we stand on our feet, everybody to say, do what is right. I kept on saying it, that they said charity begins at home. This is the time we need to know, or we should see where charity is coming from. Not the charity in name, but in acts. Yes. Because if I am controlling my house and I can control my wife and my children to a level to say, oh, this you cannot do, I shouldn't be seen doing what I say they shouldn't do. That is how it starts from. And so when I get outside, I'll be conscious of, I have said this to my children, I shouldn't do it outside. Because give or take, or whether I like it or not, there could be some people who are watching me, who my children are playmates with, and they see me doing that thing. By the time they see my children, they say, your father, we saw him doing this. It's a shame.
All right. Do note, Kenny is not looking at this from a player's point of view. We are rubbing minds on this issue. He's bringing his own perspective and looking at the issue we have on the ground now. I'd mentioned it to you earlier, that recapitalization of banks and safety of depositors' funds would have been the major thing. But the way the thing has been, we thought, okay, let's just take a cursory look at this, and later we may have an in-depth look at this issue too. The lines have been buzzing. I'll start taking the calls. You just make your own contribution. Tell me from your own perspective. But Kenny, this recapitalization of banks, how far has it gone?
Well, it's still in process. Is still ongoing. They have between now and 2026 to get recapitalized. And so what we have seen is some banks who know that, okay, if we come early, we can raise substantial amounts before others come in. So that by the time we are approaching 2026, what we'll be asking from the public will be very minimal. And that can be easily gotten in order to meet up the recapitalization. Otherwise, you will probably not see almost all the banks trying to approach the market, because we have just one market to get this recapitalization of a thing. And so for those the earlier callers, that's the earlier banks that had come to the market so far, they've been raising money and they've been getting substantial. For instance, a bank had concluded their own offer. They will soon come out with the final results.
Oh, they've concluded already?
Yes.
Good for them.
They will come out very soon. They will come out with the full report of how much they were able to raise through that public and right issue. And then the regulators will approve them. Because as we speak now, the regulators are monitoring and watching all the sources of those funds, so that we don't have terrorism funds come into our market, or what they call blood money come into our market, so that it will not make it look artificial. You get it? Because if we have that, it means that when it is discovered, it will be singled out. And when it is singled out, it will affect the bank that had come to raise such money, and it will affect the market. So
it is a case of oil on one finger affecting all the other ones.
Yes.
When there's one oil, the palm
exactly,
oil. Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
Okay,
yeah.
you know what? As I said, during the week, I don't know, Shegun, Big Shakes will let us know the day, maybe Wednesday, tomorrow is Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah.
Any of those days, we're going to really focus on this. But I'll say it again, because we had, on Thursday. Okay, we'll walk around it. But let's take some calls now and messages. I have your message here, Apostle Parry from Igon, Lagos. You're saying the issue I have with this government and other governments in the past is that they dwell so much in deception and covering up. Why everything about this government shrouded? Why is it all shrouded in secrecy? Tell your people what you are passing through, and they will understand with you. That's what Apostle is saying. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, I agree with him.
Hello.
Yeah, good afternoon from here.
It's still morning here. Welcome.
Yeah, this is Mazi from Germany. Guten Tag.
Guten Tag
means good afternoon.
No, me still good morning. Me, I'm still good morning.
Okay, here is Guten Tag.
Okay.
Yeah, your guest is I don't know, maybe it's a little bit economical with the truth, because he's trying to blame the people who are hawking fuel. If there is availability of fuel, nobody will hawk it. Nobody will hoard it. If there is fuel everywhere, like here in Germany, where you go to your filling station, you buy it, 2 minutes you go. There's no queue, there is no scarcity. Nobody will be hoarding fuel. The problem is the system is corrupt. Those people in NNPC are incompetent. Since I grew up in Nigeria, every day from 1970s to this time, we're talking about fuel scarcity, this and that. And every day they will come up and tell you the reason why it's stormy, windy, rainy. In Nigeria is the only place whereby in dry season they will tell you now there is lack of energy because of Kanje has dried up. This is what you hear from people who have no clue on what they're doing. For example, how can somebody be importing fuel? You are the 10th largest oil producer in the world, and you are importing refined fuel. From 1960s, when oil was discovered in Nigeria till today, we are talking about importation of fuel into Nigeria. And some people are coming on television giving excuses. It's a shame. So lastly, my sister.
Okay.
Lastly, Tinubu has no reason of buying any, whether it is published or new aircraft at this time that Nigerians are suffering. Tinubu has no right, has no moral right to buy anything that is called new flight.
Okay.
For what?
All right, Mazi. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay,
let me just quickly react
to
to his comments. I cannot agree less with what he said. Thank God he went back to history to say since 70s we've been having this ups and downs. Yes, we've been having it.
Please hold on.
Some people have said that corruption. This present administration is not the only one, mark you, that has gone or is experiencing that. Somebody did ask former President Obasanjo that you said there are cabals.
Okay.
What did you do with those cabals then?
Okay, has that call dropped? Okay, Karen.
So what did he do with those cabals then? If he knew there were cabals and he couldn't do anything, it means he left it for incoming administration to inherit. So if those ones too had inherited it, the same cabals are still there. They have not been removed. They have not been dealt with. So this is something that every Nigerian need to wake up to. And that is to say that in electing our representatives, it shouldn't be an election of money. It should be an election of integrity.
Okay, let's take this one. Hello, how are you?
Sister Kode, good afternoon. This will be calling from Ikeja.
Welcome, Obi. Go ahead.
Sister Kode, if not for that is your program, your guess is making my stomach turn.
No. Hold on. No, don't forget that it is not speaking as an NNPC expert or anything.
It's not his area of not his area of this. He should leave this place.
Nami drag him enter.
Don't drag him. Leave him for Re-Capitalization. Leave him for that. Don't drag him to this place so that you don't put the man in trouble. The simple economics of demand and supply. Simple economy. If there is no supply, there will be desperation now. There will be desperation. People will not be rushing. Even in America, human beings have propensity to do things wrong if there is no law and order. Even in civilized countries, even those countries, if there are no laws and order, people will misbehave now. Look at it. This only country here, climate. People in Kazakhstan, people in Russia, the weather is not affecting them. Not to talk of the very wonderful weather we have in Nigeria. What are we talking about? They don't have supply in the NPC. There's no simple supply. They don't have. Let's say the truth and let's speak truth to the power now. So that with Nigeria, my stomach is aching, sister. Please,
wait. Huh? You know that weather thing? It was an NPC that said it. I read it from them.
We should not even repeat it. They should not make us. They're making Nigerians where we have intelligent people. They're making us look like stupid people in this country. For God's sake, what relationship has President got with Melikere that he cannot sack him? Mediocrity. Do we sleep in bed with mediocrity in this country? Enough is enough now. We have professors. Look at people like you. Look at somebody like him too. They are trying to drag him into their nonsense. My brother, don't discuss about an MP so people will get angry. Please. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah. You see, I remember Professor Bat Naji, who was the energy minister sometime. He was removed, right? The reason why he was removed, it's flimsy as far as we were concerned. He went to Enugu and was doing what he intended doing at that time.
And Abia now?
Abia now. So now, what I'm trying to say is this. Let's assume that we have people who could do it. Like I said, Nigeria should go past beyond money election, where the highest bidder gets it all.
Okay, but you know what, Kenny? If you've entered the via money elections, shouldn't common sense tell you that let me prove that I can still do it by getting the right people to work with me?
Who do we know are the right people?
There are plenty now.
Good. And like I keep saying, I'm just an ordinary person. If today I am elected in any position, the first people that will come to me are my families. No, right? That is where the corruption starts from.
You?
No, everyone. That is where the corruption starts from. No, let's be sincere and let's be practical about this thing. That is where the corruption starts from. Corruption is not money alone. No. It's not. Corruption has to do with our personality, our integrity, everything about us.
Okay,
so if my family come to say, bros, this is this. Before I do anything, I will say, okay, let me. It's corruption.
Okay, let's take this one. Hello, how are you?
Okay, my name is from my child.
Okay, calm down. Are you running? You're sounding like you're running. Where did you run go? Are you going to buy fuel?
Okay, I'm inside this cycle. Good morning.
Okay. All right, carry on. Good morning.
Okay, this is my take on this matter. Please, I support what you said, but I don't think if we have enough supply of petrol products, we cannot all swear. Like I'm driving Kekemayo now. If I buy for 8,000 naira, I will use it for a whole day. So, but all of this capital now, I have to go to the filling station, queue for the whole day, look for a way to buy. If I generate to use any means to get fuel, like 20 liters, so I can start me for 2 days. But if I petrol, I will just buy for that day. And we also said about corruption issue, that the corruption has been there for so long. So I don't think we should just keep on saying that the corruption has been there for so long. Let us see this corruption once.
Thank you.
So
let's
you-
kill the corruption.
Exactly.
Thank you very much.
Let's
Thank
kill
you.
it once and for all.
Let me read some messages, Kenny. Sorry. They say we are just speaking. Okay. Lady C, can't you see that he stylishly moved you from the issue of the plane to the issue of the PMS? I'm sorry, but he's saying what I think he knows nothing about. He's just sitting on that you are sitting on the fence. AY from Mushin says you are sitting on the fence, that you no agree hit the nail on the head. If I must confess, okay, they feel you are defending what is wrong. This is Olawale from Ijaniki. Wait now, that you are trying not to step on toes. God have mercy.
No. I'm not. Like I said, I'm not. I won't discuss something that I don't have full knowledge of. NNPC said this. What we should be asking NNPC, and during the time of Abiola, late Abiola, he said he will know. He wants to know how much it costs Nigeria to refine 1 liter of fuel before he can say this is the appropriate price. Now, NNPC have come up with all these things. There are people saddled with the responsibility, I kept on saying it, of oversight function in the National Assembly. There are people who are saddled with the responsibility of monitoring. What are they doing? These are people we should be chastising. You get? If NNPC is saying this is the reason why this thing is down, or this is the reason why this thing is up, there are experts in those areas. What are the experts doing?
Why are they not giving them the space to do what they know how to do?
Exactly. So they should come up. I mean, an opinion is like an opinion. If they come up, we cannot say it's just one person that is an expert in that area. We have so many of them. Let them come up to say, okay, this is what we think or this is what we feel. Like in a platform I belong to, somebody was talking about this fuel issue also. I had to say, look, let's not talk about it. Let's call an expert in the field who can tell us the chain. So that with that, we'll have a knowledge of what is happening. And then we won't start blaming or apportioning blame or whatever.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Turn down the volume on the radio, please. All right, your name.
Can you hear me clear?
Yes, I can, but your radio is still disturbing me. All right, go ahead.
Please, I want to say something.
Go
We
ahead.
have three geopolitical zones in Nigeria. I discovered something that if a president comes from one geopolitical zone and was somebody who wants to speak about the government, they mellow down their voice. When a speaker is speaking and it discovered that he came from the same geopolitical zone with the president, they mellow down their voice.
Okay, so what's the
So when
solution
a speaker
now?
do not come from the same geopolitical zone with the president, they loud their voice in quotes,
Okay,
criticizing, throwing points and filing the president. The man sitting down there, let's call a spade a spade. We have Commander-in-Chief, Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria, Bola Tinubu. He has power to hire, to fire. But he wrought in the corruption that is going on in NNPC. Is unfortunate. And that man is sitting there giving analysis that does not add anything positively.
okay, I get you, sir. So I'll
Tinubu
ask
has
you.
the power to hire and
And
to
to
fire.
fire. Okay, thank you,
The
sir.
corruption in NNPC is not today.
Okay, all
Tinubu
right.
made a promise. He said he's going to put Nigeria, make Nigeria work. Common man on the street, go and interview them. So some of them who are benefiting from the government and come to the radio, television, and TV television, speaking vernacular and grammar. Go to the street. The man sitting down here, then he has a street. He has relations and relatives. He knows how they are feeling.
Okay, sir, thank you very much. I get your point. Thank you very much.
He said, let me quickly react to that. Obasanjo that I talked about is more or less like my uncle. His house and my house, we are virtually in the same compound in Abeokuta. The school I went to, that's Baptist Boys High School, was the same school he went to. I know him very well. I spoke against him. The reason why I'm doing that is this. We've had presidents in the past who had said there are cabals. Even as we speak, we still talk about cabals. Who are the cabals? Has any president come up to say, these are the cabals? The same Obasanjo talked about NNPC, and he said he invited the Shell to come and revamp NNPC at that time. And they gave him reasons why they cannot. He couldn't do anything for 8 years. He didn't do anything. He left it like that. Who did he leave it for? For his predecessor to come and take over a bad rot or what? It's the same thing that's been happening. So let us not be sentimental about this thing.
Can this one call these things off? Now, for instance, what is so special about the NNPC GMD? I think that's his title. Why can't Mele Kyari not be sacked? That's a question. When was Kyari? Since when has he been the NNPC chief executive? He's been there in the time of Buhari. Yes, so the question... So he didn't do anything. Okay, Kenny, the question that's been asked now is, why can't this president relieve him of that position? That is the question. I'm not in the position of the president to speak on that. He knows what he sees or feel or think about him. If I'm working with him, it's a different thing. If I'm not... For instance, if the owner of this station decides to say, everybody that is working with me is okay, who are the people outside that will say they are not okay? That is the thing. So we're saying now that the presidency is comfortable with him. I haven't said that. What I'm just saying, based on what we are reading. Exactly. In the air. So it is because he's comfortable with him. There have been other people that have been sacked in other parastatals. If he's comfortable with him, it is left for him to tell us are meaningful comments that will not be seen to be regionalized or tribalistic or in nature or whatever. Those who called from abroad, they are talking on the basis of what is happening there. They have rules. It is not today. They've had their challenges some years back, and they were able to control it via their rules and regulation. Here, we have those who are setting up all our rules, the constitution and what have you. We need to let those ones to still talk about it. To say, okay, for instance, somebody was saying the constitution, the National Assembly, the constitution was bad by saying we. And they are saying, okay, let's agree it was bad. Not the totality of the constitution. So let's pick the ones that are bad and we work on it. It's as simple as that. Okay, let me read some messages. Ezekiel from Ejigbo is saying, no excuses for NNPCL. How do the Asians and other European countries survive severe weather conditions? That's the question he's asking. And why has service to humanity turned to enriching the pocket and stealing by trick in Obodo, Nigeria? Is it happening in Kogi State not a reflection of the crookery in Nigerian State? For instance, that of Kogi. You see? You know he just employed 1,000 and something more aides. No, you see, these are some of the things. Okay, let me read more messages. You'll respond. Good morning. This person is appreciate the guest, but please, we cannot import leaders to rule us. And as long as analysts push blame on past leaders, especially OBJ, that tries to hold each administration accountable, then we are part of the problem. Anyone coming in and building on past mistakes has nothing to offer and must be condemned. In all sincerity, the current administration has failed democracy, drifting into autocracy, and unfortunately, future generations will blame us all. So please, let's speak the absolute truth for the records. Mr. President deserves to be impeached today if we have representatives. Simisola from Isolo, Lagos, that's what you have said. And John Wakan from Iyanokpaja, Nigerians, let's face it, our country's reliance on imported fuel is a major contributor to our economic woes. But the solution is straightforward. Build more refineries and hold our leaders accountable for their actions. By refining our own oil, we can create jobs, stimulate economic growth, and reduce our dependency on foreign fuel. It's time for our government to take action and invest in our own refining capacity. But we, the people, must also demand accountability from our leaders. We must push for transparency and ensure that our natural resources are used for the benefits of all Nigerians, not just a select few. Let's work together to build a better future for our country, build refineries, demand accountability, and let's take control of our country, of our own destiny. And Good morning to you. Speaking on the fuel issue, our analyst said the people around the selling points should not allow those who will buy go and turn it and come back to buy the second time. But you should also know that people that do such are the agberos. Opposing them will only mean leaving you with some windows in your mouth. May God help us. Amen. You heard that, right, Kenny?
Yeah.
I see you smiling. But it makes sense now.
It does make sense, but not in all cases that they are agberos. I'm telling you, yes, it's something I have seen. The people who are coming from Badagry end, I see them, women, not even men, women.
But if somebody has more than one jerrycan, why should you sell to them?
That is what we are saying. For instance, I queued up and they said they are only going to sell 5 liter. The one ahead of me bought 5 liter into his car and he left. I didn't have a jerrycan. I bought, and somebody approached me to say, please help me buy. And it was a woman. I said, madam, I don't do this. But because you are a woman, I'll do that for you. More so, it's just 5 liter. Can you sell the 5? I asked the pump guy, can you sell 5 liter for me? And he said, yes, he can. Okay. He sold. And I gave it to the woman. And she left. I'm not too sure whether the woman didn't go to pour it inside a bigger jerrycan to come back to buy. I had bought into my car, had left. So how do I know? Now, when you see people buy, they are not totally the agberos. Even well-educated people go to filling stations. Let us stop talking without investigating.
But these people also use it for their gens.
Yes, they may use it for their gen. If you are using it for your gen, everything boils down to is there availability of light? If there was light, in the past I had enjoyed light almost 24 hours in my area, and so
now?
I don't need. Just about 3 or 4 days ago now there was a surge, so I know, but it has been restored back. So in the past I don't buy fuel because it's risky to me keeping fuel in the house. You get it? I know it.
But you know this thing they've said, if this thing is available, nobody will hoard it.
That's why I'm saying that we need to know how many liters are being imported. There was a time NNPC came up with all the statistics of those they allot to. You get it? Yes. They announce it almost on a weekly basis to say we have this amount of fuel and we have given to these stations, blah, 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 blah. If they could continue that, again, all that will cost money. By the time, at the end of the day, it's the same Nigeria that will say they are just spending money frivolously. Because if they say this, okay, we are announcing this, and you know they cannot announce that in just one station. It has to be widely announced or a given coverage. It costs money. I'm not speaking for them. But we should all look at all these things together so that at the end of it, we will not come and say, is frivolous spending, is this or that. We need to know how many liters is coming in regularly. Yes, okay, now they have said they will be selling the crude to Dangote refinery through Naira purchase. Let's wait and see. Dangote said in August, this is August, it's almost rounding up. Let's wait and see if Dangote would say, okay, I have been able to refine so amount of liters and have pushed this amount of liters out. And let's see whether there will be a change or not.
Okay, you know this thing we've been talking about and the fact that we need to speak with the people who are really vast and who are experts in that particular field.
Yes,
you know, you've been saying that.
Yes.
And Mark James here on YouTube had said something like, there is a power, the deductive reasoning. You can deduce things from calculations you've seen in your environment and all that, and that making inferences from the various situations that we can calculate from, or that to really say this and that concerning the issue we've been dealing with. I just paraphrased what he said, and he also said that Oga Kenny in the studio, you are still that you are a stakeholder by default, so one can definitely cite points for or against governance in the land based on the things we're seeing and calculating.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'll give instance of my area now. In Festac there, we have about 5 to 6 filling stations, right? And they are selling at different prices. Now, there are some stations that get regularly. Why do they get regularly? Because they have the fund to purchase, and they believe that the price at which is being given to them, they could still make a little margin.
I have one in my area. His own margin is out of this world.
Oh, so you see? So, and you see, there are some school of thought, somebody is in business to make profit, right?
What of over profit?
That's whether it's over profit or not. But somebody will tell you that. I'm just saying, there are school of thought that will say that. And there are some who will say, for instance, those ones who are selling at a minimal margin, it's not because they don't want to, they don't want to overprice it, but because they are satisfied.
Yeah.
That is it.
Okay, let's quickly take this. Just 30 seconds, because we have to wrap up now. Hello, how are you? Hi, how are you? We have 30 seconds. What's your name? Hello? Hello? It's still counting, but I can't hear you. Hello? Okay, thank you.
So you see, if a station decides to sell within a price and they are ready to go with it, let's say, oh, good, kudos to them. But there are some. I was coming from somewhere, and I went to a filling station, and they told me 850 naira. I didn't stay there. I moved out because I know that the fuel in my car could still take me to my area where I can buy it at 618 naira that I'm comfortable with. So, and I got there and I bought at that same price. Not for anything. But the same area, there are filling stations who are selling at 622. I don't want to mention their names. There are some who are selling at 613. So it depends on the buyer. If I'm willing, it's a case of willing buyer, willing seller. I'm not supporting the idea that, oh, NNPC is not bad or whatever. Let us, we have said it, that let's call a spade, yes. But we must start from somewhere. Everything has to do with every individual Nigerian.
Okay, let's take this.
Every individual Nigerian.
This last message, Afam from Ejigbo says, hawkers of fuel will disappear if fuel is made available. The persistent scarcity of fuel is caused by those who are enriching themselves. They are the same people who are fighting tooth and nail to frustrate Dangote refinery because it will expose their corruption once it starts. During the war, refining of fuel was so common that Biafran government was trying to control refining of fuel, and they didn't have modern and sophisticated refinery then. Refining fuel is not rocket science. That was from Afam. So wrap up now. Yeah. Last line.
Well, I stand by the last speaker, which says refining fuel is not rocket science, and that is what I think it is true. That's why I said we need experts to tell us, to educate us on the chains, on the workings, so that we all will now know who to face where there is a problem. If I know a refined product can be produced at certain amount or within a limit period or something, I can say, oh, I can deduce. If you are producing 10 liter in 1 minute, then it means if you come up to say what you have is 1 million, I can say, okay, that means you have used certain hour to produce that. And then I can also deduce from the point of sale to say 1 million that you have produced can be consumed within this limited time. Okay. And so we know all that. If we can know all that, we don't have any issue. And then we can hold those in various positions accountable to say, we know it. Tell us what is happening now. You cannot deceive us any longer. But it's where we don't have any knowledge of these things. They keep telling us, give us excuses that we can't even fathom. So all this we need to work out with. And well, people have said president has the power to do and undo. Well, he has it, but let's see how it goes.
Okay, thank you very much, Kenny Adeaga, for having this session. Our original session will be maybe on, we'll fix the day on Thursday, all things being equal, as long as you're free. Maybe Wednesday, Thursday, we'll let you know. We'll be talking recapitalization and the safety of the depositors' money.
Yeah.
That is what we'll be looking at. The real thing when they call you for. Namiko Bayi. I'm Cordelia Obek. Kenny Adeaga, thank you very much for your time.
It's my pleasure.
Ifolu, thank you so much. I'll see you later on. Till then, take care.